The last truly elite Oregon pass rusher I can personally think of was DeForest Buckner. The subject of today's video has been hyped up for about 3 years now, was the #1 recruit in the country, and is ultimately probably the best Oregon pass rusher of this entire century. His name is Kayvon Thibodeaux. You've definitely heard of him, but recently we have seen his draft stock fall. In today's video, I want to introduce you to who Thibodeaux is, go through his journey, what he will bring to an NFL franchise, and why his stock has been falling as of late. So, without further ado, let's just get into today's video. In order to understand why his stock has fallen, we need to go back in time. He grew up in Los Angeles and was wanted by Little League coaches as early as elementary school. He was literally always bigger than everyone else. At 8 years old, he began to play Pop Warner football, and he even played up a level because of how huge he was. There were even times where he chose not to eat before the game because he had to be a certain weight or else he would not have been allowed to play. He was always the next big thing, and once he arrived at high school, he was going to blow up nationally. Except, he had a roadblock. While he was at Junipero Serra High School in California, he was stuck behind another 5-star talent whose name was Oluwole Batiku. He ended up becoming a bust at USC in Illinois, but Thibodeaux took this as an opportunity to move to a different school. He eventually settled on Oaks Christian High School, which was 45 miles away, and he did that every morning. He became a beast, and in 2 years had 16 total sacks and pushed offensive lines to their absolute limit. The best game of his career came in the state championship, where he had a total of 4 sacks, but his physicality and potential is what everyone saw and why every school in the country wanted him. He gained offers from literally every program, but where would he go? He visited Alabama in Tuscaloosa, USC in Los Angeles, and Florida State in Tallahassee, but a weekend in Eugene, Oregon changed everything for him. He would visit Oregon for their game against Washington in 2019, and this would be a thriller. The Ducks would win this game in overtime on the back of CJ Verdell, and Kayvon met with Phil Knight, the Nike guy, and he was pretty much sold. He eventually chose the Ducks over Alabama, USC, and Florida State, and became the highest-ranked player to ever commit to Oregon. He also went viral for playing people in chess on the beach, and was always someone who worried about life outside of football, and that's part of the reason he became a Duck. He said, quote, "A lot of schools have great programs, great this and that, but for me, I realized connections are a thing that really matter. Opportunity is the biggest thing. I was looking at, where can I go that will give me the best opportunity for the future? And Oregon has it." Kayvon was seen as a guy with quarterback leadership in a defensive end's body, and Coach Cristobal was very pleased. He said, quote, "I think that's the best part of him. I think anytime you sign a player that has 5-star status, you want his work ethic, his demeanor, his leadership, and his qualities to be that of a 5-star. He has that." As Mario said, he was a 5-star recruit, the #1 player in the class of 2019, and he spurned SEC schools to go to Oregon. So, with all this hype, how would he do? Well, as a freshman, Thibodeaux only started 5 games, yet he had a team-high 9 sacks and 14 tackles for loss during that year, and he also had 3 pass deflections and a forced fumble. I don't think anyone expected him to be that good in such a limited amount of time. The future was extremely bright for him. 2020 would be a slow start in the sack department, but he proved he was more than just a pass rusher, as he was elite when it came to stopping the run. By the end of the year, though, he did finally turn it on and became an all-conference player because of that. 2021 would be his huge year, but he would miss the biggest game of his collegiate career, their trip to the Shoe. The Ducks would go on the road in week 2, run all over Ohio State, and come out with a win despite not having their best player in Kayvon. Oregon was a college football playoff contender for quite a while, but they lost a couple dumb games and ended up eliminating themselves. Thibodeaux finished with 49 total tackles with 7 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. It was a great year for him, but there were concerns about the 2 games he missed due to injury and his motor. This would ultimately lead to some questions about his draft stock. He obviously declared, and it seemed that everyone was going back and forth between him and Michigan's Aiden Hutchinson for who would be #1 overall. Then we started to see some dominoes fall. Scouts were worried about his work ethic and motor, and guys like Trayvon Walker, Malik Willis, and Evan Neal started to blow up even more. Recently, I've seen some mock drafts with them going 8th or even 10th overall, after one point being a lock to go #1. It does not seem very likely he'll go #1 overall, but why is that? Well, one of the issues seems to be his injury. He got hurt and missed 2 games, and some GMs are worried about that. Secondly, which is the biggest knock on him, is that they're worried about his motor. Daniel Jeremiah of NFL Network said his effort was spotty all year long, and Todd McShay said he would not be shocked if he fell out of the top 5 because, quote, he just doesn't play with the same fire as some of the other top prospects. Aiden Hutchinson is a guy who never takes a play off, and people think he'll have a better impact than Thibodeaux. I have seen some comparisons to Jadeveon Clowney, as back in the day, Clowney was that can't-miss prospect, but some were worried if he even worked hard enough. Some would call Clowney a bust in the NFL, while others wouldn't, but Thibodeaux, I think, is a good comparison to him. I'm not sure where he will go, but I'm pretty certain Thibodeaux will be a top 10 pick when it's all said and done. In his mind, he thinks it's all ridiculous. He said, quote, "I'm going to be honest. The most ridiculous thing I've heard is that I'm not the best player in this draft. Other than that, I don't really listen to anything else. That, to me, is outrageous. Just, with the film and the numbers and what I can do as far as my ability, I have confidence in what I can do. I should be the number 1 overall pick." In my eyes, that came off as a little bit arrogant, but the guy is also extremely confident in himself and has worked to build this hype, so I can't blame him for being a little bit upset with what's going on. Overall, this could either be a good or a bad thing, as either this will destroy his confidence or this will fuel him to play even better. Either way, whatever team gets him is likely going to get a steal, as I'd rather take Thibodeaux than a guy like Trayvon Walker, and he's probably going to make everyone pay. Thibodeaux seems like a guy who's worried about every aspect of his life, and I wish him nothing but success at the next level. What do you guys think, though? If you're an Oregon fan, what do you think of Thibodeaux? Why do you guys think his stock is falling? And who's another player I can take a look at in my next video? Be sure to let me know down below, smash that like button if you want to support today's video, and check out all of the videos on the end screen. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.